Do you ever open your closet and think, why did I buy that? I definitely have, a lot. But not since shopping with Quince. I see fewer misses and a lot more hits that I'll be wearing season after season. Quince has all the seasonal must-haves, like 100% European linen shirts from $30, performance polos, and versatile activewear. The best part of all, Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of all the middlemen and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. I really like that. I just got 2 shirts. I ordered a third. It's coming in a week. I got 2 shirts. I just got them a couple days ago. The quality is unmatchable. I love them. They feel great. They fit great. That's why you got to shop at Quince. Fill your closet with timeless pieces that you'll be wearing for summers to come with Quince. Go to quince.com/Bubba for free shipping on your order and a 365-day return policy. That's QUINCE.com/Bubba to get free shipping on your order. And again, the 365-day return policy. Quince.com/Bubba.
All right, welcome to Kush and Cantrell. You know, we're not doing the wrestling thing this week. We got other things going on here, so maybe that's why we never officially named it. Gary, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm waking up. I'm seeing all these tweets, all these Instagram posts. It would be almost a crime if I didn't just put you on the hot seat immediately here at the very start of the podcast, because I have a feeling, is this going to go out today? Or
Yeah, oh yeah.
Perfect. So what is going on between Merch Crick and Bubba, the Eric Andre show? I'm just going to throw you on the hot seat.
Well, I mean, we'll ease into that.
Okay.
Do you have any? Is there anything you? I'm not going to bore you guys with the details. Obviously, we're going to go over it, blow by blow on Monday. But
yeah, I don't want to take away too much from Monday, but I have to at least ask.
Yeah. I'll tell you my experience of last night, because nobody's going to give a shit about my experience on Monday. It's going to be about Bubba's experience. So, we were finally able to coordinate it. Coordinate with the tour manager. I think Lummy and Rhett got down there about 7. Babyface was down there with like his wife and some neighbors and shit. Babyface calls me, right? We're in. Yeah. Bubba, I rode in an Uber with Bubba and the Merch Crick. We rode over from the station, and Babyface calls me and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "the line is really, really long to get inside here." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool, man. A lot of people." He's like, "Can you get me in? Because I really don't want to wait in line." I'm like, I was like, "Yeah, dude, yeah, I'll get you in." And then I hung up and I go, how the fuck am I going to get him in? Like, am I going to tell the tour manager, "Hey, I got 4 people that just need to walk through the back here, if that's cool"? I mean, it's a very small area. So, hold on, pause for water. So Babyface ended up getting in. So we got dropped off probably about probably 7:45. They took me, Merch, Crick, and Bubba to the green room, which I guess Eric Andre's crew kind of was hanging out there. So it was a weird vibe. There was another lady there named Rhonda Shear, who I believe is I think sells ladies' underwear or something. She's somewhat famous, but Bubba
Rhonda Shear, like Up All Night?
Yes.
USA Up All Night.
Yes.
There's a throwback.
What is that? What did she do?
So I'm going to show my age here, and I know you and I are literally pretty much the same age, but basically this actually a small wrestling tie. So after Monday Night Raw back in 93, 94, maybe 95, there was this USA Up All Night show where, back in the late 80s, early 90s, they'd have these these shows late night where they were kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Suggestive, but not really.
They were dancing stuff.
I never watched it. I just saw the commercials,
okay.
And I think it was just literally they put a hot girl on a couch and she just talked to you or something. Okay. I don't know. 100 people will correct us on Twitter or whatever, but
no.
Yeah. So listen, yeah, there you go.
That's I know that she has a lingerie line. I think she's done stuff with HSN, which is in St. Pete, so it's very close. But Up All Night is how people have referenced her. So I'm glad that at least it's a show. So we're good. So Bubba saw her, so they were talking. They're both I don't know what the hell's going on. Guys, go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to social. You can see how Bubba was rolling last night. Had the Fat Man dunks. told me he had a $70,000 Rolex, which I was like, we need to go sell that immediately and buy some baseball cards.
And that was on Instagram Live, right? You guys did. He showed you off the watch. I caught part of it yesterday.
Yeah, I did. Gary, as much as people will say whatever they want. I just try to give as much extra content as I can. So I got to Bubba's 45 minutes early. So I just figured that I would go live and kill some time. And a lot of people were telling me to go live at Eric Andre last night, which I'd never considered doing because Rhett's got that video that he's going to put up, which is what people need to see. B, I got a lot of content last night. I wanted to kind of live in the moment, man. I just wanted to enjoy it. It was Friday night. Like, I was in Ybor, which I haven't been to in years. Brings back, memories of, when I was younger and would go down there every now and again. So, like, I was vibing, man. I was having a good night. So I was just like, I didn't want to sit there and record the whole thing. So anyway,
and see the cellular quality is really bad too. In those like high traffic areas where you have like literally 300 people all with their phone on at the same time with the same idea.
Exactly. So, and that was another thing too, as I was trying to get all the tweets and Instagram shit up there, how long it took last night, but I forced it through. So, so Bubba's back there. So we're talking, tour manager's super nice. And then there's like in the green room, there's like another room that's connected to the green room. And then Eric Andre came out of there. So Bubba had given Eric Andre, when we got there, we gave his tour manager a pair of Fat Man Dunks. So we found out, I texted what his shoe size was, 11.5, by the way. I know. I
was about to say it wasn't a size 14, was it, Seth?
No, I know. Everybody knows. Just so everybody knows right now, listening, Gary needs his size 14s. Okay, like. Bubba said it on the air. I don't know what's going. I don't know where the shoes are. I don't know what's going on.
I was on eBay looking, and I thought I was trying to find nice pull Kush on eBay to go buy those damn things, but I couldn't find them, so I don't know what happened.
We might have to like sew a couple 7s together or something, but like we'll get something. Trust me.
Yes.
I gotta get Tig's Bits fucking merch. I promised those guys merch 2 months ago. And I haven't.
They got merch in their deal, Seth? What is going on here, man? I feel like I'm like out of the loop now.
You know what? I mean, they did get merch as part of their deal, but But I will say, this is not because of podcasting, but we were able to get you a couple of shekels for some of the work.
Yeah, a little different deal. Yeah,
some of the stuff that you're doing on the side, which we'll get into for people that don't know that. So I'll get. So Eric Andre comes, meets Bubba. I get a pic with him. Meets Merch Crick. I got a pic of them. I shook his hand. He goes in his green room, comes back out. He's got his suit on and shit. You can hear it out, outside. It's getting loud. I don't know what to expect, Gary. I have no idea. And I guess Bubba was way more nervous than I had even realized. The Merch Crick said that she was nervous. I mean, they were expecting like the worst case scenario. And I just was like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun thing. Here's an example of like what they did. They bring Bubba out and they're interviewing him and shit like that. And then Eric Andre goes, "Hey," he goes, "So I heard you just took a trip to Italy." And I'm like, well, no, he didn't. Like, I know he didn't take it. And he's like, "We've got some pictures right here." And then all of a sudden behind Bubba, it's just like giant dick after giant dick after giant dick. And it's just like, and I mean, people are going crazy. And, I'm just like, this is my kind of humor. This is Bubba's kind of humor. So, I mean, I don't want to spoil the whole Eric Andre show. I put up the start of the show where he kind of runs around, throws a bunch of food, goes in the audience. I will say the crowd was electric, Gary. It was like a wrestling crowd mixed with like a super hyped concert crowd. They were chanting. They were fucking into everything. It felt good. Like,
Are they into Bubba though? That's what people really want to know.
I will tell you what, there was not a boo. Bubba got a big applause at the beginning. Bubba got a big applause at the end. Bubba did a great fucking job with everything that they threw at him. Like, there was things that, and here's the thing that everybody's talking about. You texted me today, what's going on with Bubba and Merch Crick? Is it a shoot or a work? I don't even know what a shoot or a work is. That even confuses me sometimes. So,
and you're on a wrestling show, right, Seth, and you don't know what that is.
I know, Gary, there's only, I like a handful of wrestling terms. The rest are like, kind of skeeve me out a little bit. So Eric, this is where it stems from, okay? I'm going to tell you guys as much as I know. When they introduced themselves to Eric Andre, somebody said, "This is my fiance." I think maybe Bubba said, "This is my fiance."
Okay.
And then Merch Crick introduced herself as Bubba's girlfriend.
Ah.
So
Eric, maybe she's working and he's shooting.
I don't know, Gary. I didn't hear any of this, but I hear Eric goes, "Well, you guys," he goes, "you guys might want to get on the same page about that whole thing." So at that moment, what Eric was doing, despite having everything planned, was he put it in his head of like, I'm going to do this marriage bit. Now, you know what? Maybe it's something that he does during every one of his shows, Gary, because, I'm not going to lie. A lot of his jokes, you could take out Bubba and put in anybody and they would all still work.
Sure.
Like a handful of it was about Bubba, but Bubba could obviously roll with anybody. And, we got to the point where Eric Andre said, propose to this little angel or show us your dick. And I about dropped to the floor, Gary, where there was just all this milk that Eric Andre had shot. Like I was just not what I was expecting to hear, but my kind of humor. And everybody starts chanting.
It's a hell of a proposition.
Everybody starts chanting, "Show your dick, show your dick." There's literally a crowd of 1,500 people yelling, "Show your dick." So I mean, I put up the video of Bubba proposing to the Merch Crick. So where does it stand right now? I will tell you, I honestly have no idea. I rode with them on the way home. We were talking about everything that happened, about how Bubba did. I got a text from my buddy, Babyface texted me. I got a text from my buddy Aaron Jacobson. Shout out to him. I produced his show on the sports station AM 620 before I started. He's been in this market forever. So he texted me. He didn't know I was there. He's like, dude, Bubba's killing it. And then he sent me a text. He goes, I have a whole new respect for, Bubba after last night. Because, I think Bubba just kicked ass. They ended up bringing Rhonda Shear out, but it was like for a minute. Like,
right.
I think they wanted Bubba to put on panties. And Bubba's like, I'm not doing that. So
Yeah.
Eric Andre ended up tucking his own junk and then putting the panties on himself.
Wow.
And which Merch Crick tells us on the way back in front of the Uber driver, by the way. I'm a PG-13 guy, Gary. Merch Crick's like, I was like, yeah, he tucked it, because Bubba couldn't see everything that was going on. I was like, yeah, Eric Andre tucked it, and she's like, yeah, but you could still see the head. She's like, you could see the head, like it was really. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy?
Wow.
It wasn't one of those Uber drivers that was no English. He was and I'm just like, wow, we're talking about that. You could see the head as this guy was tucking it. So I'll tell you 100% honesty. I don't know where things are. I don't know if it was real. I don't know because Bubba said after the fiance thing, Bubba's like, well, we've been together so long, I'm just,
Yes.
I honestly don't know if it's just one of those things where they've been together forever. I don't know if last night was, I don't know how real last night can be when there wasn't really a ring or anything like that. But as far as their relationship goes, I will say that there's a little bit more intrigue than I had realized. That's what I discovered last night. And also Eric Andre's funny as shit.
Well, I think this definitely makes Monday morning a must-listen, appointment listening type show or watching.
Yeah.
And I think that it just creates more intrigue for the show, whether that's deliberate or not. I mean, it's a hell of a hook.
I mean, dude, none of us and people, security was asking. Security was great. They took us, behind that. We didn't have to go out in the crowd. They took us everywhere we needed to go. They were interviewing Eric afterwards. Like, did you know what was going to happen? They were like, because security was fucking cracking up, man. They got fucking paid to fucking watch the show. Like, they were having a great time. They were. She's like, I had no idea what was going on. It's one of those things, Gary, where it's like, we're skeptical of everything. We watch wrestling. You're like, is this a plant? Like, how much of this was worked out ahead of time? Like, none of it was. Nobody said shit about anything. I guess right before they went on stage, Eric tells Bubba, he's like, this is going to be great. So, I mean, that was cool. Also, Bubba did bring up Alex Stein. So we took care of that. It was very forced, but he took care of it. So
forced.
It was very forced, but Bubba wanted to take care of Stein. So I will just say, like I said, from my perspective, I'm giddy from last night because it was fun as shit. I've never seen anything like Eric Andre before, a live comedy show. I like people that, will let it all hang out there for comedy's sake. He's not being offensive or anything like that. It's just fun. So I love that shit. And, the fact that we got, some good content out of it come, Monday, and it just, it was a good night overall. So.
Well, I think it's good too, like, just to put Bubba in such a public setting like that in front of a crowd, something that you could correct me if I'm wrong, the listeners could. He doesn't he doesn't really do a lot of that these days. He doesn't do as many appearances and things like that. And this is a great opportunity to kind of put him back in the public eye in a good setting. There's a lot of rumors and speculation going on, like, is they're going to be a setup of some kind, I know on the wrap-up show they talked about that, but I think it's good to have him in these kind of settings and put him back out in front of people that don't consume the show, because maybe you can hook them and bring them in.
That's what I told Bubba last night. But you know what? I know as much as they had all worried about it, man, it was like, Eric Andre's crowd is just like, they were ready to have some fun. I think that they could have brought up Hamas last night, and I think they would have got applauded. But they right. Like, Bubba got a good response for everything he did. Like, he knew how to work the crowd, and like I said, overall it was just a fun night, man. And I don't go out that much, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not too much of the going out type either, but it sounds like a hell of a night.
It was, and we'll find out more on Monday. So something I wanted to kind of talk to you about, and I don't know how much we've talked about it on this podcast. It can't be that much because we just do wrestling, but you're doing some paid, some lightly paid work. We've already talked enough about money. I already see these people.
I thought we were all volunteers around here, Seth. That's the word going around on the internet.
We're working. You're working for Shoes and Cologne, and have not gotten either yet. So, but Gary, I'll tell you, I met Gary down at Barb this year, so that was in January, and Gary Cantrell was just I was like, have you been with Bubba for a while? Like, I felt like I knew his name. Then I realized that I was thinking of Jerry Cantrell from, what is it, Alice in Chains or something like that?
Great band, by the way, yeah.
So I realized that's why I thought I was so familiar with you, because I was like, Gary Cantrell. So met Gary. Gary kind of talked about, he kind of reminded me of my feeling, and was just like, I'll do, I'll work for free. I just love being a part of it, and this is great, and it's just awesome that... You're basically saying, like, it was awesome that Bubba was letting you work for free. That you got to be there, take pictures, do all that shit. But, right? I mean...
Yeah, I know that a certain sect of the audience will light me up on that. But here's why I did it, and here is ultimately why I am where I am right now.
Yes.
Excuse me, as my voice cracks.
What's going on? Yeah, you got the Bubba thing going on, dude. You got
I know. I got a lot of editing to do, Seth.
Did you have a milk alternative or something? As like a soy or an almond milk, clogging you up? What's going on?
No, I think literally every time I pick up this damn microphone, that's when this stuff comes up, because I'm sitting here all morning just watching TV like nothing's wrong. But
you think the mic's dusty or something like that? You think it's like giving you some allergies or something?
It could very well be. I do have allergy issues from time to time. So
see, people, you guys didn't know that. If we talked about wrestling today, you would not know that Gary has allergy issues. So yeah, so I know people like to joke a lot about working for free. I'll just say this. In radio, and I don't know how many other businesses this happens, I would imagine very, very few. Radio is one of those things where you kind of work for free at some point. And yes. I did it for 9 months when I was an intern. I actually wasn't getting credit when I was in college, and ended up dropping out of college. But I worked for free, and then they paid me $7.50 an hour. So you were just hanging around. You loved the show. You were working, and yeah, where did it go from there?
So it goes pretty deep. I'll try to just do more of the summary, so we're not here for an hour going over it. But basically, like many people, I find Bubba during a serious time. Buddy of mine says, "Hey, do you listen to Howard?" I say no, so I start listening to Howard. Hear ads for Bubba. Now I'm into Bubba. This is like 2007. I want to say sometime in the summer or something like that. But basically, I become literally hooked on this show, and so hooked so that my wife and I, when we hear about Bubba's Chicken Dip, we're driving 8 hours to Charleston, South Carolina, where he's heard at that time. Jeez, because the local food line there has Bubba Chicken Dip. And so I drove 8 hours to buy some damn chicken dip. But listening to the show, just obsessively, just becoming a big fan. I drove down in 2010 to the TNA thing, the famous Monday night TNA where all the Bubba fans were outside in the cold for 8 hours. And I still never got the full story on that. Maybe one day that could be an idea for a podcast right there.
We have let a huge mark infiltrate us. I mean, you have our social media passwords, Gary. I mean, I did not know.
Well, I have one of them. I don't have all of them. I have one of them exactly. I'm working my way to the next one, but
Bubba still hasn't given me Facebook. He's very very possessive over that. So I mean, but you are a huge fan.
Well, that is true. Simultaneously to that, though, I'm doing a wrestling podcast / live internet radio show at this time. There was a website years ago called Blog Talk Radio. It's like the shittiest audio quality you've ever heard in your life. It's like worse than like MP1 or whatever. That's a joke, people. And so it just sounds like shit. It's awful. But I'm hearing throughout the months that Bubba, like, he wants to talk to the Honky Tonk Man. Famously, on May the 2nd, 2008, they actually did a work where they lured him onto the show under the guise of a different show, and they confronted him. But still, he was trying to like call to all these shows and talk to the Honky Tonk Man. And I'm like, I have a show. I can book the Honky Tonk Man. So at this time, I am friends with one of the guys on the show named Tom the Tree Man.
Okay.
And I'm talking back and forth to him because I've had him on the show. Obviously, this time I'm trying to get Bubba's attention in 2009. And so I get Tom on the show knowing damn well that they're going to play the audio for that on his show the next day, which they did.
You said you were going to make this a short story, Gary, and we're only in 2009.
I know. But there's a big gap, so we'll jump ahead. But basically, I get the Honky Tonk Man on the show. Tom tells Bubba is not available during the time because it's a nighttime show. So he sends Spice Boy onto the show. Spice Boy and Honky Tonk Man go back and forth for about 10 minutes. It's actually on the Bubba iTunes page. You can go stream it. And so that gets played on the show. And he's like, man, you got to check out my boy Gary on the shoot and blah, 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 blah. And then it kind of just goes like flatlines there because I'm just like, wow, I thought that I've hit the peak. I actually have a DM that I sent to Bubba's Facebook in 2010 asking for a job, and how it has come about now. This blows my mind. So fast forward like years and years and years, I had kind of like got out of the show. My interests kind of changed and I'm just all over the place. And in 2020, 2021, I'm hearing a show where he's talking about how he's lost it all and how he is just like had this big collapse, but it's a different side of Bubba. He is very vulnerable in this moment. He is very much talking in ways that I've never heard him talking before because I've been gone for so long and I'm used to just the brash, cocky guy that's, on top of the world, and he's talking from a different place. And at this point, I've been content creating for years and years and years just on my own shit and helping out other people. And
I love a great deal just as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals or go out of my way just to save a few bucks. And if I am, man, it's got to be easy. No hoops, no BS. So when Mint Mobile says it's easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan, I'm going to call them out on it. Turns out it's really that easy. It's that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. The longest part of the process was the time I spent on hold waiting to break up with my old provider. That's a nightmare. Wish everything was as easy as Mint. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk-to-text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your old phone number with you, along with all of your existing contacts. To get this new customer offer with your 3-month premium wireless plan for only $15 a month, you must go to mintmobile.com/Bubba. That's mintmobile.com/BUBBA. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Bubba. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower on 40 gigabytes on unlimited plans. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
So I devised this idea that I want to help. I want to jump in and help. Now, I don't know anybody on the show at this point, and so I'm just like, I'm going in chat. You could probably find old chats where I'm like just throwing out ideas like, do this, try that. But I'm just some asshole in the chat. And we know how that goes.
Well, I mean, you were an asshole back then? I was going to say, because you're very...
No.
You're
not a literal asshole.
You're well liked across the board,
yes.
In chat, which, whether people participated or not, and you hear us talk about it and you think it's stupid... Possibly all those things, but there's a lot of good people in there that like interacting with each other in the show. It's a community, and when it's going good, it's fucking great.
I meant that in a very much joking way, but
okay.
Just like, I somebody that wants to be seen and heard and has ideas. But again, the show doesn't know me. Why would they listen to me? Why would they literally give me a moment of their time other than if I was just some caller talking to them? So one day he's talking about something and I reach out to Lummy and I'm like, Lummy, because this is on Twitch, you can DM people. So I'm DMing Lummy, hey man, I edit stuff. Can I help? Can I help? Sure you can. And so now I'm like just trying to find random stuff to cut up, going through the old BAR and finding all these random Hogan interviews, Tucker Carlson interviews, because that's the one thing I used to hear Bubba ask for all the time. I need all these together. I need them all together. And nobody ever did it. He was paying all these guys all this money. They never did it. I'm the guy that did it. I found all those tapes and on the site and I downloaded them. I cut them. I put, just only the Hogan or just only the Tucker stuff and sent it all to Lummy on a Google Drive. I think I cut like 400 pieces of audio within a month, my first month of helping out.
Man, they still didn't fucking pay you, Gary? Shit.
Well, I wasn't asking. I wasn't looking for that. I was trying to show my value, show what I can offer.
Yes.
And I have a lot of social media stuff and video editing, which I hadn't even tapped in those first few months. And then I see that YouTube is starting to promote shorts. It's becoming something that's brand new where they're actually prioritizing them over your main uploads. Then so I go to Lummy again. Lummy, what if I take some of these Hogan stories and make them into 1 minute or less little clips? Start doing that. And here we go. Now we're at 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. It's just going up and up and up and up and up. So I'm just here quietly in the background, just editing little things here and there, just trying to help out where I can, just trying to contribute to the show, because ultimately it goes back to this one. I wish I remembered the YouTube upload that it was where he told the story, because it just hit something in me. I'm like, I need to do whatever I can to help this man get back on top. That's the punchline. Maybe that was 10 minutes ago where I promised a short story, but fuck it. It's a podcast.
No. I like that. I mean, I like that you were like, hey, I put all this shit together. I think, it's a tedious job. Bubba's got a lot of stuff. He puts there's a lot of, he owns all of his Someone's at my door, Gary. It's weird when someone comes to your door these days. You don't know what. It could be the little girl across the street wanting to play with my daughter. It could be Amazon. It could be the cops. I don't. Who the fuck knows what's going on? I don't know if I did anything weird when I got back from the Eric Andre show last night. If somebody in the neighborhood might have called on me. So I was telling them as part of the story. So I see Gary, I'm talking to Gary at Barb, and he's just like, I'm doing all this shit. And I'm like, all right. So I start talking to Gary. I think I had reached out with a couple of maybe video things for you to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was hey, and then how did the podcast come to be? Did I come to you about it? Did you come to me about it?
It was literally on a hot mic. You're like, hey, Gary, I have this idea. You want to do a wrestling podcast with me? And I'm like, I'm sitting there at work. This is before I found out that I was getting shit canned from my job. And I'm just sitting there like, wait, what did he just say? Now, mind you, to the people listening, I hadn't done a wrestling podcast in many years. I had done one or two with an old co-host of mine back in 2020. But before that, I hadn't done anything since 2014, 2015. I was rusty. I'm still rusty.
And you and I had still only had one conversation. It wasn't like we were talking every day. And I'm like, man, I got to do a pod. I didn't know you, but I knew that you could do I knew that you could do with this.
Yes, I've been literally working on social media, video, audio for 17 years now, and it's been a long, people, they get into this shit and they think that man, I'm gonna blow up overnight, and that's just not how it fucking works. Now, part of it is on me because I do before everybody thought it was cool to be on ADHD and all that stuff. I was actually diagnosed with that shit back in the 90s, and so. Our interests change over time, which is why, I kind of dipped away from the show and other things I kind of just casually get away from. But it's just it's something where, there were times and pockets where I'd be on trying to do YouTube or trying to do podcasts and I'd lose interest and I pull back. I probably should be a lot farther along than I am. Almost 10 years ago, even I should have been way further along. But that's just my own shit. Now here I am in my 40s and I'm like, man, the time is running out for me as far as how much time do I really want to dedicate to content creation and editing and all this stuff. And then I was just I had this vision where I'm I need to something told me I need to help this man, being Bubba. I need to get in the mix, whether I'm welcomed or not. I need to find a way to help and just be filled with positivity and just trying to contribute, because that's really what I felt that the show needed, whether they knew it or not. And I think that if you asked any of them, they would, to some degree, agree with what I'm saying. But like, I just felt compelled, like I needed to jump in and help. And here I am 2 years later, still doing it, now on the payroll.
Yeah, so we're doing the podcast, and then Gary started doing some daily clips. You know, Rhett has. I mean, look. I'm not gonna act like I know what Rhett or Macho Man has going on, but I know that they have.
Right.
I know that they have a lot I know they have a lot going on. I know that there's backlog content for fucking ever. That, you know, releasing the videos. I know that there's probably, you know, a system to that. So one thing that I thought that we needed was just some more clips of the show daily to put up on our social media, you know, and that Gary was kind of doing that stuff. And then we did the podcast, and I'm big on people, you know, getting paid. So, you know, I just went to Bubba and just said, hey man, you know, Gary's doing this, and this, you know, if you could just pay him, you know, little something.
Yeah, for the record, I never asked. I probably would have still been doing this the way I've been doing it. Even now, but the timing though, I want to insert this. This is very crucial, at least to a part of my story. Like the timing and all this. You come to me on that day, and I'm already like finding out that things are moving at work. I'm like, what's going on over here, which you had no idea of. Nobody had any idea of, and now this has happened, and here you guys come with this offer.
Fired, right?
Yeah. So I'm just like, holy shit, man! Like this is insane. Like the timing. And look, again, it's like essentially the job is very much like a part-time, but at the time I had a full-time, and it's just like, but I'm still like, I'm so thankful for the opportunity, because this is something that I could have never dreamed of. If you told 2009 me, for instance, that this was going to happen, I would have said no fucking way. But
And like, my thing is, and I went to Bubba, and you said you'd probably still be working for free. And, but Bubba, despite, all the people say, Bubba likes to make sure everybody's as taken care of as they can. And he has no problem paying people when they do things, especially when they're contributing, like you are. So I know that a little bit of money goes a long way. And I'll say this, talk about working for free. I had a run where I was working with the Lightning for a few years, and that started because I reached out to them for a job, and because I was trying to get out of radio, and they were like, we don't have a job, but if you want to start doing a radio show,
right.
They had a 24-hour stream, a Lightning stream, and they were just trying to put content on there. Like, if you want to start doing this show, you can do a show for us. And I'm like, I was like, okay, maybe it's a good thing that I get involved with the Lightning and, do this thing, and ended up working for free. Ended up getting, I think, $35 a show the next year. I think ended up getting like $50 the next year. It was going up, but it was that's nothing, especially when it's fucking wasn't even taxed. So
yeah.
I'm getting that shit. So like that's nothing, but it ended up getting me to a spot where I was able to host a podcast and, be with the team when they won 2 Stanley Cups. And I didn't make a fucking ton of money there or anything, but I had the greatest fucking, some of the greatest memories of my life, were me being in that building. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't fucking take that job and work for free and put myself in there. So, I'm not sitting here encouraging people to work for free if you're trying to get into entertainment, but it worked out for you. It's worked out for me. There's something about it. You can tell, and that's why I said when you reminded me of me, like you can tell when people have that passion, like they want to create good work, they want to make it, like they want to be great. And I think that you can't ignore those people. Like you need as many of those people as you can on your team, as your friend, all that shit. So, that's why I'm glad that you're with us. I think that you're one of the, you're the only guy that doesn't catch any heat on the show. But the more you get intertwined into the world, whether it's by doing podcasting or, the video stuff. Bubba already said that he wants you to stop sending him 8 emails a day, but
we got it down to 1. We fixed it.
Gary was sending these clips, and I was like, I just thought they were all different clips and everything like that. But apparently, and I was like, man, Gary's really doing some work. We get 17 Eric Andre clips. Come to find out, Gary didn't even know that his email was this one email, but it kept sending out other emails. And Bubba just goes one morning, Bubba's like, how Bubba has his things. He goes, can you just tell Gary just one email? And I'm like, Yeah, I was like, I'll tell Gary that. Like, I don't have any. That won't be like a bad thing. And then Gary had no idea that it was happening. So
yeah, and the next day it was fixed.
Yeah, that was a fun little thing. So I wanted to make sure that I got the story of you being in the Bubba Army and you working with us now. What do you think? Because we're gonna continue the wrestling thing. And I talked about it on the live yesterday about how I want it to be more, centered around live events. I want it to be more of a social media thing, and we'll still do the podcasting and all that. What do you think, man? Because you've got a guy that's been reaching out to me that did like a murder mystery type of deal, right, or something.
Yeah, and then he decided that like he wanted to do a little bit of everything else. He's a West Coast guy. He's in L.A. or that general area. He just had Mancow on his show, and they actually talked about Bubba. I don't know if you heard that clip. It's pretty wild.
I didn't know. We should actually. We should probably get that clip. So
I'd love to know what he thinks about that, Bubba.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. But he reached out to me. Again, he didn't do the murder mystery thing anymore. You had told me, but I'm like, what else does this podcast network need? Like, what else? As far as trying to break outside of the Bubba Army bubble, as I call it, because we want to try to bring more people in. Obviously, those aren't going to be podcasts where we sit around and talk about the ins and outs of the show or anything like that. There's plenty of shows for that. The fucking the after show last night was, or I listened last night when I got home from Eric Andre, because I didn't know that fucking Lummy and Tuttle got into it. So
yeah, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. So I just wanted to just ask you, man, like, is there anything that you've seen or you thought of or you think might work
for Ford, the guy?
No, just for this, man, because I don't know, I got people that reach out all the time and they're like, hey, yeah. I do this podcast, I do that podcast. Yeah, I'm the kind of guy where I'm just like, I can't give everybody a spot on, and it's not like, hey, we put your podcast on and you're gonna be fucking famous. It's not like that. But no. It's like I want to be nice to everybody, but it's also like I just don't know. I don't know if it's missing anything or if it's like going at a rate where like everything's. I always feel like I'm not doing enough, Gary. So despite the fact that, yeah, so despite the fact that we have all these podcasts, like I still feel like I'm doing a couple one-offs where I'm gonna be interviewing, like Tampa Tarpons, or like I might interview Alex Stein when he's in town, because I'm more fascinated about how Alex goes about his bits and not so much like everything that's happening politically or anything like that.
We need a deep dive on Alex, like get him like non-gimmicked up and just get the real Alex. And that's actually around the time that I'm also going to be there. I am staying at Bubba's house thanks to Mr. Zeth Money Kushner over here. That I love that. I was sitting at work that day just completely uncomfortable and unglued after that segment, but no, it's all good. But no, I think we need that. That would be a great interview right there.
But I'm trying to work on some things, and then we've got in development, as I like to call it. Tuttle is working on something with his ex-wife, which I think is intriguing. We've got another one in the works, which would be very Bubba Army centric. And I don't want to quite give out what it is because it needs to be recorded, and then we need to figure out what direction it's going to go in. But we're testing stuff. We're testing stuff out. It's gonna that one's got like maybe 3 or 4 people on it, so it's a little bit more of a production.
Yes.
But I'm always thinking. So I just wanted to, I get suggestions literally every day from people that are pitching me podcasts. So I just wanted to know, and I put you on the spot. And if you think of anything, man, let me know. And I am going to reach out to your friend Ford. Some of these people I'm not going to be reaching out to.
I will say this, and he doesn't know I'm saying this, even though I know literally he texts me almost every day like, hey, have you heard anything? I'm like, brother, it's, we're going to figure this out. We'll figure this out. So here's the thing. This is one thing I will say about him. He's been grinding as long as I have. He's been in and out with this show, and he's been like, I think literally you could almost put him on something and he would just go and do it. He's got a great radio voice, or podcast voice rather. And I think you could literally plug him in and play anywhere. I know sports, you got that covered because you've got Lummy and Rhett, and they know they're very intelligent about the sports.
Yeah.
So, you could literally plug and play him just about anywhere. Like if you had like some empty void that you needed to fill, he would be like, yeah, I could do that, and he'd probably do it. But figuring out what that is, that I'm not so sure of, because everything on this network now is so uniquely different, and it's like, do you almost like have him like throw like a random episode out there and just see what the people think, even like that, just throwing something random, no explanation. People are like, what the fuck is this? They listen to it and they either like it or they love it. Maybe they even vote him on or vote him off. Maybe that could be interesting.
That we actually, Bubba and I talked about doing something kind of a twist on that before, when we've looked to do some different ideas for the podcast thing. But
yes,
I'll talk to him. I read somebody had replied to a tweet and they said, this is, I don't listen to any of the podcasts because Bubba's not on them, and it's stupid to have podcasts that are not about Bubba. And here's the thing, I slightly agree on the point that whenever I've been a fan of a radio show or something, when the host isn't there, I'm not into the show when there's co-hosts hosting it. And that's, I've always been a co-host. I've filled in guest hosts. I'm saying that as a guest host, I don't expect that it's something that people want to hear. Now you always hear good things of hey, you guys did a good job, when Anna was hosting and all that stuff. But that's that. So I get it if people don't want to hear me and the Barbers, or me and you, or they don't want to hear Tuttle and Colton. I totally get that. But I want to make sure that we can load this up with as many unique and just strongly produced podcasts as possible. So it's going to be, not everyone that we pick and put on here is going to be a hit, but that's what I want.
That is true. I think generally, and this is what I found out just doing content over the years, because I've always thought share your story, show what you're doing, and all these things. And those things are good and they're important in my opinion. However, 99.9% of people, if you're not a name, they don't give a fuck. Yep. It's up to you as the creative to make them give a fuck, to get them invested in whatever it is you want to bring them along for. And if you can do that and you can hook them, cool. But if you fail in that, then you're fucked. Then they're just out of it. So it's finding unique things, whether that's a personality trait or a special guest comes in that grabs their attention. It's one of those things that will bring people in and make them care, or get them at least interested to where they want to hear more. But if you don't set it up, if you don't do it properly as the creator, you're never going to get anybody in.
And Gary and I could talk about anything. Gary and I have a list right now of things that really take off on social media. So we could sit here and run a show that would go, every single clip would go viral, which is something that which is something that maybe, we'll do. We'll just talk about Caitlin Clark and shit.
Oh my God.
She got left off the Olympic team or whatever it is. But I mean, we'll talk about, we know the things that we figured out from a lot of trial and error, what works, what doesn't work, which is very, very cool. I gave you guys, my perspective of Eric Andre. We'll obviously hear Bubba's on Monday. You guys got to hear about Gary and kind of his story. You guys, I'm as honest as I can be about the podcast thing.
Yeah.
There's not one way to do things for anything. So I don't have it all figured out. I like to learn every single day. So I'm not shut off or determined to things have to be a certain way. That's why this week, I released 2 podcasts on a day. I'm just fucking trying to mix things up. But if any of you do cut up any of this for video, I do want to show 2 wrestling related things.
Okay. Let's do it.
I got into a wrestling card break for my daughter's birthday, because around her birthday, I feel like it's good luck. So I got a wrestling card break. I bought 2 wrestlers, Gary, because that's how you do it. I bought Bianca Belair and I bought Gunther. So ended up getting a Gunther autograph right there.
Oh, very nice.
If you can see, and that's it's sworn material. This is either part of the ring, part of the mat, or part of something that Gunther wore to the ring. So
it's not part of his trunks, like his junk, his head didn't sit there. Bring it back to earlier.
I don't think his head. I don't think so. But I think that's a cool card, and I know that we don't talk about cards or anything like that. But and then also got this Bianca Belair card, Gary, and this is a 1 of 1. Which, hold on.
Ooh.
That's a 1 of 1. I don't know which way to do it. But as you can see, this is the only one of this card that exists. So these are obviously very rare. So it was very cool to pull this. I sell a lot of cards, because I like money over just having cards. But this is one that you keep. And my daughter got excited about it, and I got excited about Gunther and his underpants and his autograph. So I wanted to show that to you.
Well, and I think that's really cool. And it's like the value of those doesn't even matter because these are two people that you genuinely are fans of and like. So it's like it doesn't really matter. Like my dad, he has a ton of Tiger Woods cards that are in my possession for safekeeping for him because he's in like a nursing home kind of deal. And so, like he loves Tiger Woods. I've looked up some of those cards. I don't think they're worth a ton, but they were worth something to him. So it all kind of matters like what it's actually worth to you as far as like what you're keeping and things like that. And I think those are very nice pieces. Like for me, if I had come across like a Steve Austin or a Rock or anybody, even a Kevin Owens or an AJ, these are people that like mean something to me. I think that'd be pretty cool if I came across something like that.
Yeah, so and it was cheap too. Like I only paid like $5 for Gunther, and I paid the $13 for Bianca. So I mean, like these are worth a lot more than that. But right now, I don't need to make an extra $10 selling a picture of Gunther in his underwear. So listen, I'm very happy with this podcast today. I want to kind of keep doing where we go. We run topics and all that shit, and we get our direction and all that. But I thought this was important to do, and I'm glad we did it before we had 100 wrestling episodes that nobody was listening to. So hopefully people will be on our wrestling shit after this. But like I said, I wanted to kind of just do what we did, and so I appreciate you hanging with me. You did not know the direction of the podcast. I just go, we're not going to do any wrestling shit, and you did a great job.
I'm always ready, just like Matt Carter. I think I've said this 3 times in the episode now, but it's true. I'm always ready for anything. So fuck it, let's just do it, and we'll see what happens. And we're just all here for the same goal, and that is to get this brand back to where it really needs to be, and that's on top. And that's exactly what I intend to do. Whatever my part is, you're intending to do, and everybody else there. We have a great team now, and I'm very thankful for this. So let's fucking go, man.
That's why we're sitting here. That's why we're sitting here on Saturday at noon, fucking doing a podcast, for the people, because we're dedicated. This is I get no more, no less money. Gary gets no more, no less money than doing this. Like we just doing this because we're gonna see if it pops off. If it does, great. If it doesn't, who fucking cares? But
I should have been on strike waiting for those goddamn shoes, but I'm still here. I'm still working, baby. Let's go.
We're gonna. I'm gonna lock down and I got to get Tigs and Bits taken care of. I need to get. There's this April Smith. She asked me. She reached out to me. She sent an email, Gary, and she loves Operation Pigmentation. She has just got diagnosed with cerebral palsy, and
oh no.
And I called her. I was like, let's call her in the podcast one day. Didn't fucking answer. So, and then I promised her that I would send her a shirt because we were out of her size. So I got to get her a shirt. I got to get Tig's Bits. I got to get your shoes. Like I need a focused day to get all this shit taken care of. And I don't mean shit, but I owe a lot of people, Gary. Okay.
Seth Kush on Venmo, everybody. Oh wait, shit, that's a problem. Wait, I take that back. I'm deleting that from the record.
Let me tell you this, Gary.
I'm not.
I'm actually not. I'm not gonna. You think
was that even the right handle? Was that even the right handle? Or
no? It's full
okay.
Name Seth Kushner. I'm not talking about this on the show because I don't want this person. I don't know if the person. I don't want to give them the satisfaction. If you're listening to this podcast, then thank you. A motherfucker sent me a request for $150 on Cash App.
Are you shitting me?
No, and it's just to be funny because I gave out my Cash App on the air. But I get a fucking when I see the Cash App pop up on my phone. I think that someone's just sending me money out of the blue. Not a listener, but just like a friend, like something. I don't know, my wife. I go, holy shit. And I look at it, and it's just it's one of the names in chat that sends me a request. Then I get a reminder for the request yesterday, and I'm just like, well, is this guy going to actually make me go on and decline it? So as much as you think that I'm going to give my shit out on the radio and people are going to start sending me money, nah, this worked the opposite way.
Right. Well, I'm accepting Roadcaster donations at the Bubba Army. No, but do donate your money to the Bubba Army. It goes a long way, help out the show and support and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we always have to do our huckster spiel. This is you guys keep us on the air. So, all right, listen, Gary, appreciate it, man. We'll get this podcast up, and hopefully you guys like it, and we'll be back next week with something.